On night of April 2nd, Lee's army broke from lines at Petersburg. After 9 months of siege, trenches filled with corpses, earthworks crumbling, hunger gnawing, rations gone, soldiers marched west. Eyes hollow, uniforms in tatters, wagons nearly empty. Cannon abandoned, horses, starved columns, stumbled along muddy roads. Flame of burning Richmond lighting horizon behind them. Confederacy retreating from heart of its power. Lee rode tall in saddle, though shoulders bent with care, his white beard streaked with smoke, eyes weary yet steady. He urged men onward, promising supplies, waiting at Amelia Courthouse, hope faint yet enough to stir starving troops. When wagons opened, only ammunition found, not bread nor bacon. Men cursed, wept, some collapsed from weakness. Officers pleaded, but hunger broke lines. Soldiers scattered in fields searching for corn grain, roots, anything edible. Delay fatal. Grant's blue columns pressed close from east and south. Cavalry racing ahead to block escape. Through April, days running fight unfolded. Skirmishes flared at Sailor's Creek. April 6th, Union cavalry slashed across road-cutting wagons from column. Sheridan's men charged, sabers flashing, artillery roared, Confederate lines crumpled, thousands captured, including generals, Ewell, Custis, Lee men, threw muskets in ditches, crying war over Lee, watched grim eyes moist, said, "My God, has army dissolved?" Sheridan signaled Grant, Confederacy finished, only matter of time. Still gray army staggered on through night-cold rain mud. Roads choked with refugees, wagons, families, soldiers mingled, hunger relentless. Men dropped by roadside too weak to march. Cavalrymen searched for handfuls of corn horses, skeletal with ribs showing Lee sought to unite with Johnston farther south, but Union pursuit, ceaseless columns of infantry. Blue coats stretched horizon. Sheridan blocked every road. April 8th, near Appomattox Station. Union cavalry seized train loaded with supplies desperately needed for Lee's men. Food, clothing, ammunition, all captured. Confederates fought to retake but driven back. Wagons, empty bellies, hollow hope gone. Officers admitted no escape left. That night Lee gathered staff around campfire, his face shadowed by flickering light. He spoke softly, near whisper. We must consider terms. His lieutenants silent. Some protested fight on guerrilla, scatter into hills. Lee shook head firmly. No more lives wasted. Men already endured enough. He resolved to seek Grant next morning, though heart heavy with defeat, pride of Army of Northern Virginia bound for surrender. As correspondent trailing armies, I felt weight of history pressing. Each mile west carried final chapter closer. Soldiers knew it too. Many whispered, and near prayed for peace. Families along roads watched ragged columns pass, some weeping, some silent with hatred. Yet all sensed curtain falling, Confederacy near last breath. Morning of April 9th dawned clear sun, bright over hills around Appomattox. Lee's army, drawn up ragged lines near courthouse faces. Hollow muskets, few cartridges left. Artillery scarce, horses skeletal. Still officers formed brigades, as if habit stronger than despair. Soldiers whispered today, last day. Whether victory, miracle, or final defeat, none knew. At first light, Gordon's corps attempted breakout, driving toward Lynchburg Road. Confederates charged with desperate courage. Blue skirmishers fell back. Moment, hope flared. Then columns of Union infantry appeared, ranks stretching, endless artillery, unlimbered cannons roaring. Cavalry swept from flanks, cutting off path. Gordon sent message to Lee, Army can do no more. Lee understood, curtain fallen. White flag raised. Confederate officer rode forward, lines parted, bugles silenced, rifles lowered. Across fields Union officers watched, astonished. Some cheered, others hushed. For moment, battlefield stilled after 4 years, relentless roar. Silence itself felt strange, heavy as prayer. Lee sent note under flag of truce, requesting interview with Grant. Couriers galloped through dust, bearing folded paper. Across lines, Union pickets read, message passed with awe. General Grant himself, suffering headache. Mud-spattered uniform sat beneath tree when letter arrived. He read slowly, eyes narrowing, then nodded, said I will meet him. Grant scribbled reply, courteous, suggesting appointment at Appomattox courthouse that afternoon. All morning messages crossed between camps. Flags of truce fluttered. Soldiers on both sides mingled cautiously, sharing water, tobacco shaking hands. Some laughed bitterly, saying war done at last. Others wept quietly. Union men offered rations to starving gray soldiers who devoured hardtack bacon with gratitude. Some exchanged addresses vowing to write when peace firm strange fellowship born even before terms signed. Lee prepared carefully. Despite ruin of army he donned, best uniform, new sash, polished sword, gilt scabbard. He wished to meet Victor with dignity, preserve honor of men who had followed through fire. He mounted Traveler, his faithful horse, and rode toward village flanked by officers. Faces solemn horses, stumbling from exhaustion, yet bearing of commander unbroken. Grant rode later without ceremony, plain private's coat boots, muddy sword absent. He believed gesture important, no hint of triumph, only necessity of ending bloodshed. His staff followed, some astonished at simplicity, but none questioned. He carried notepaper ready to draft terms with fairness, not vengeance. Village of Appomattox courthouse, small cluster of houses, tavern courthouse, dirt road lined with rail fences. Citizens peered from porches, astonished to see history descend upon quiet hamlet. Soldiers crowded fields hills beyond, waiting breathless to hear news. Moment destiny hung suspended as two greatest figures of war approached. Meeting that would end struggle that scarred nation. Shortly after 1 o'clock, Lee arrived at brick home of Wilmer McLean, white two-story house with porch shaded by trees. He dismounted. Traveler handed reins to orderly and ascended steps. Tall, erect, though face drawn with fatigue. Inside parlor waiting, Grant mud-spattered boots, plain coat, no sword, Lee immaculate uniform, polished boots, gold-hilted saber. Their contrast spoke volumes, yet when eyes met, both bowed with courtesy, not enmity. Grant recalled first meeting in Mexico. Years before, spoke warmly of memory, easing tension. Lee nodded, smiled faintly. Conversation drifted to old comrades, campaigns passed for minutes. Neither mentioned surrender, staff officers crowded room. Silent pens, ready clocks ticking heavy. Then Grant gently turned subject. He said, purpose of meeting to arrange terms so that men may cease further bloodshed. Lee inclined. Head agreed calmly. Grant dictated conditions, plain generous Confederate officers, to give parole men return to homes, not disturbed by federal authority. Arms, artillery, public property surrendered, yet horses retained for spring planting. Officers allowed to keep sidearms. Lee listened intently. Asked if cavalry and artillerymen who owned horses might also retain them for farming. Grant paused, then nodded. Yes. Lee bowed, thanked him, saying it will do much toward reconciliation of our people. Generosity marked moment. While clerks wrote, Lee sat still erect, eyes distant mustache, trembling only slightly. He signed papers with steady hand, passed to Grant, who signed in turn. Silence, profound filled room, except scratching pens. Staff officers blinked tears. One Union general wrote, never saw anything more solemn in my life. Outside thousands waited, breath held, not knowing. Inside war ended. When terms complete, Lee rose shook. Grant's hand quietly said, Men of my army will be grateful for your kindness." Grant replied, "I am glad to do anything to promote peace." Lee bowed, turned to leave, stepped onto porch. Sunlight breaking clouds, soldiers crowded yard watching. Silent respect parted as he mounted Traveler and rode slowly back through lines. Blue soldiers instinctively saluted. Gray commander. Many wept at sight. No jeers, no insults, only silence heavy with awe. Inside House Grant sat back, weary, relieved. He said, "I felt sadness as much as joy. I had fought long for victory, yet seeing Lee's dignity, I could not exult. He ordered no celebration, no cannon salute, only silence. Men to return to camps with rations prepared for Confederates. Half rations of Union Army distributed that night to starving foe. Bread, bacon, coffee shared in fields where hours earlier they killed each other. Thus, in quiet parlor, war's great clash ended, not with roar of cannon, but with pens upon paper, handshake between foes, once implacable, generosity, respect, closed wounds, too deep for vengeance. At Appomattox, nation found moment of mercy amid ruins. As word spread through camps that surrender signed, men scarcely believed it. At first, whispers, then cheers, then sudden silence. Soldiers stared at each other as if unsure how to act. After 4 years of marching, bleeding, starving, killing, war ended not with last charge, but by agreement in quiet house. Some laughed, wept, embraced. Others sat alone, head in hands, unable to grasp that they would never fire rifle again. Union soldiers, eager to exult, fired volleys, cheered, but Grant ordered immediate halt. "No celebrations," he said. "The rebels are our countrymen again. Let us receive them with respect." So camps stilled, bugles muted, men returned to tents. Voices hushed, astonished by mercy. Officers repeated, "Order rations for Confederates," distributed without delay. Wagons rolled into gray lines, bread, bacon, coffee handed out. Starving men devoured with tears, whispering thanks. Some blue soldiers helped comrades in gray roast meat build fires. They spoke as brothers long divided, now joined. Among Confederates, reactions mixed. Relief foremost for suffering ended honor, preserved by Lee's dignity. Soldiers murmured, "Our general saved us from shame." Some felt bitterness, defeated yet grateful for terms that spared humiliation. They clutched horses, allowed home, weapons of officers, untouched dignity intact. Columns formed next days to stack muskets. Cannon flags surrendered in silence. Union troops watched without jeer. Many saluted foe, laying down arms, mutual respect, born in crucible of agony. On April 12th, ceremony of surrender took place. Gordon led Confederate corps through line-stacked arms. Chamberlain commanding Union-ordered salute of honor to vanquished foe. Blue ranks snapped muskets to shoulder. Gray soldiers returned. Gesture. Tears streamed faces on both sides. Drums beat slow cadence. Flags furled. Nation fractured began to heal in moment of shared reverence. This gesture remembered as symbol of reconciliation amid ashes. For civilians across land, news spread like lightning. Bells rang in northern towns, crowds filled streets. Farmers left plows to kneel in prayer. Mothers, widows read names of battles carved into hearts, whispering, "At last it is over." In South, families wept bitterly, some in relief, some in rage. But even they knew fight hopeless now. Rebellion finished, new chapter, uncertain begun. As correspondent, I wrote, "Appomattox showed world that republic endures by mercy, not vengeance, victory crowned by restraint, not cruelty. War began in fury, ended in handshake. In house of farmer between men who once fought together in Mexico, nation-sealed future. The papers signed that day more powerful than any battle, for they ended bloodshed and opened door to reconciliation, however long road ahead. When I left Appomattox, I saw fields dotted with campfires, blue and gray, mingling, sharing coffee stories. Stars shone bright above as if heavens themselves relieved of burden. Guns, silent night, deep men slept side by side, some for first time in years. War that split nation closed, not with shout, but with sigh of exhausted people, grateful simply to live.